Each time Kim pours water from a jug into a glass, exactly 10% of the water remaining in the jug is used. What is the minimum number of times that she must pour water into a glass so that less than half of the water remains in the jug? Again, let's start off with a number. Let's say there's 100 units of water in the jug. The first time she pours, she will pour out 10 units. That means there's 90 left. Then 10% of 90 is 9, and that's the second time she pours. Then there's 81 left. The next time she will pour 8.1, and that is the third time she pours. And now there's approximately 72.9 left. 10% of that, which is approximately 7.29, that's the fourth time she pours. Now we have to take 72.9 and subtract 7.29, and that is about 65.6. And 10% of that is what she pours, 6.5, and that is the fifth time she pours. Then we have to subtract these, and again you get about 59.0. She will pour 10% of that, which is 5.9. That's the sixth time she pours. 59 minus 5.9 is 53.1. And then now she's going to pour 10% of that, which is 5.3. And that's the seventh time she pours. After that, 53 minus 5.3 is 47.8. And at this point, less than half of the water is in the jug. And it took 7 times. 7 times she had to pour water into a glass for that to happen. So number 23, the answer is C. Pascal High School organized 3 different trips. 50% of the students went on the first trip, 80% went on the second trip, and 90% went on the third trip. A total of 160 students went on all 3 trips. And all of the other students went on exactly 2 trips. How many students are at Pascal High School? I'll let n equal the total number of students. And let's move forward with this question. Now, some of you are familiar, some of you are not, but we've got to use something called a Venn diagram. And this is a Venn diagram, and I will explain. So this first circle here, that represents trip number 1. Second circle represents trip number 2, and the third circle represents trip number 3. Now, I will first of all write letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and G for each of those regions. Now, every letter that is part of that first circle represents a certain number of students that went on the first trip. Okay? Same thing with the circle number 2. Those letters represent the number of students that went on the second trip. And these letters represent the students that went on the third trip. These, though, D plus G, represent the students that went on both trip 1 and trip 2, since that's the region that's common to both. These 2 letters represents the students that went on both trip 1 and trip 3, since that's the region that's common to both. And finally, those 2 letters, G and F, represent the number of students that went on trip 2 and trip 3, since those 2 letters are the region common to both. And then this guy, G, represents the number of students that went on all 3 trips, because G is the region common to all 3 circles. So let's write this out in terms of algebra. A plus D plus E plus G is how many students went on the first trip, and that was half, 50%, so that's n over 2. Then we have B plus D plus E plus G. F plus G, sorry. That's how many students went on the second trip, and that is 80%, so that's 4 over 5 times n. And then the third trip is C plus E plus F plus G, and that's 90%, so 9 over 10n. Okay, so far no tricks, just straightforward. They give me a little bit of a help that 160 students went on all 3 trips. So that basically means that's G. G represents the number of students that went on all 3 trips. So G is 160. So I'll write that up here. G is 160. Okay. So that helps us out quite a bit, I think. because we can now work with this. So let's try to see what we can get. The first thing I'm going to do is add them all up. Add everything up. And when you do, you get, let's see here, A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F plus another D plus E plus F. And then we have, stick a G in here. And then we have, I think, 2 G's out here. And then, of course, this side is n over 2 plus 4 over 5n plus 9 over 10n. So let me just explain. So I got A plus B plus C, D plus E plus F plus G, right? That makes up this part. And then I have D plus E plus F. That's these 3 guys. And then I've got 2 G's. Okay? So there's a reason I split it up like that. Well, these guys, this is basically A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F plus G is the total. Every letter in this whole thing. And the total represents N, which is the total number of students in the school, which is what I call right up there. Then we've got this D plus E plus F, and this 2G. But G, we were told in the question, remember, it was 160. So I'll just plug in 160. And then this part here, these N's, I can just add those up. I'll do that fraction. Common denominator, let's see, what do we get? 5N plus 8N plus 9n all over, I believe, 10 is the common denominator. Okay, so I'm doing this slowly because I really want you to understand, because the question is actually not that difficult. Okay, so far so good, right? Okay, but we still got this mess here. If I somehow can I get rid of that? And the answer is sure. That is where this part of the question comes in. All of the other students went on exactly 2 trips. Okay, well, 160 went on all 3 trips, and all of the other students went on exactly 2 trips. So that means if n is the total, you take away these 160, and that represents this other. Those students, n minus 160, went on exactly 2 trips. And exactly 2 trips represents D, E, and F. Okay, so n minus 160 is equal to D plus E plus F. So that is exactly what we needed. So D plus E plus F is n minus 160. So we have n plus n minus 160 plus 2 times 160. And let's see, when we add this all up, we get 17, 20, 22 over 10. And there we go. We have just one variable now we can solve. So we have 2n, and 160 plus 320 is plus 160. And then that's 2.2n. Subtract 2n from both sides, and you get 0.2n. And then divide through by 0.2, and you get 800. And there you go. 800 students at Pascal High School. So number 24, the answer is D. Emily was at a garage sale where the price of every item was reduced by 10% of its current price every 15 minutes. At 9 a.m., the price of a carpet was $10. At 9:15, the price was reduced to $9. As soon as the price of the carpet fell below $8, Emily bought it. At what time did Emily buy the carpet? At precisely 9 a.m., I guess when this garage sale began, or when Emily got to the garage sale, or perhaps before she got there, the price was $10. And then every 15 minutes it goes down by 10%, right? So the first amount they actually tell you, it's 90% of 10, which is the original amount, which is $9. Right? It's going down by 10%, reduced by 10% each time. And then at 9:30, it's going to go down by another 10%. So it'll be 90% of $9, which is $8.10. Now, it's still not below the $8 requirement that Emily has set for herself. And then if you go another 15 minutes to 9:45 a.m., the price will be 90% of $8.10. And that is most definitely less than $8. It's $7.29. So that is when Emily buys this carpet. And therefore, number 21, the answer is A. It has 3 questions, with each question worth 1 mark. If 20% of the students got 0 questions correct, 5% got 1 question correct, 40% got 2 questions correct, and 35% got all 3 questions correct, then the overall class mean average was. So let's just say there's 100 students, right? Makes it easier for us. 20% is 20 students, and 20% of the class got 0 correct. And then we've got 5%, so 5 students got 1 correct, 40 students got 2 correct, and 35 students got 3 correct. So now we have to figure out the average. So it'd be 20 times 0 plus 5 times 1 plus 40 times 2 plus 35 times 3. And then, of course, we have to divide by the total number of students, which is 100. So this becomes 0 plus 5 plus 80 plus 105, all divided by 100. And that is 190. Yeah, 190 divided by 100, and therefore that is 1.9. That's the average. So number 22, the answer is B. In the diagram, the circle is inscribed in the square. This means that the circle and the square share points S, T, U, and V. The width of the square is exactly equal to the diameter of the circle. Rounded to the nearest tenth, what percentage of the line XY is outside the circle? All right, so basically what they're saying is, as a percentage, how much does that represent of XY? Okay. So what we will do is just give some numbers, and that should help us. And not that it's absolutely necessary, but I will draw some lines here. So to kind of illustrate, I'll draw a line top to bottom, and then sideways like those 2 lines. Okay, here we go. So I will label the side of the square as having a length of 2. So that means this is 1 and this is 1. And therefore this is 1 and that is 1. So xy using Pythagoras, xy squared, is equivalent to 2 squared plus 2 squared. So that's 4 plus 4, which is 8. So the root of 8 is xy. And that's not that you need to do this, but 2 root 2. Okay. So now all we have to do is to figure out this percentage, is figure out the following. It would be xy minus this segment, which is essentially the diameter of the circle, all over xy. Right? Because if we take xy and subtract from it the diameter, that will give us those 2 pieces. And that's what they want. They want you to figure out those 2 pieces divided by the full xy. That is the percentage that they're interested in. Okay, this is no problem. Xy we just figured out was 2 root 2. The diameter, they actually tell you the diameter in the question, that the diameter of the circle is the same as the width of the square. And the width of the square I have called 2. So that's 2. And xy 2 root 2. So get out your calculator. And this is approximately 0.82 over 2.82. And as a decimal, that's 0.293. And as a percentage, that's 29.3%. And that would be choice A.